Hi, my name is Raven Daniel, and this is my college identity reflection. So, this picture is from my high school graduation. I graduated from Carrollton High School in 2016. I applied to 3 different universities my senior year, 2 being in Georgia and 1 being in Alabama. But ultimately, I did decide to go to Jacksonville State University in Jacksonville, Alabama. I chose JSU for several reasons, one being the distance from my hometown. So Jacksonville is an hour from Carrollton, so it's close enough to my family, but also far enough to grow as an individual on my own. The second reason is because of their mass comm program. Um, I was I went into I went to JSU knowing that I wanted to be a mass comm major, so I did stick that out and stayed all 4 years with the same major. That's one of the reasons that I chose JSU. Also, it's because it's the friendliest campus in the South, of course. I am a first generation college student, and so it took me a minute to adjust. My transition was a little easier because I spent my first year in a cohort style. This helped me because I was able to make connections with my classmates and truly get to know the campus. So, as far as like coursework, I did adjust pretty quickly. However, socially, it did take me a while. That's because I was going home a lot, and that affected my first time being in college. So I didn't start to actually go to events on campus until my sophomore year. So yeah, that freshman year, I did spend a lot of time in my room or going back home. But my sophomore year, I did decide to join several organizations, one being Keepers of the Village. This organization contributed to giving back to the community and being role models for those in Jacksonville. We hosted multiple meetings to uplift those around us. So that bottom picture is from one of our meetings, and we discussed like leadership. And this boomerang is one of our tabling events. We were raffling tickets for this basket that had household items in it to buy a family's Christmas gifts, and that's in that top picture. So during my undergrad, I connected with many people and formed close-knit bonds with friends that I still communicate with today. Here are a couple pictures with some of them. These friendships consisted of a lot of tears and a lot of laughter. We would have game nights, study nights. We used our time to really motivate each other, and each of these people had a major impact on my college career. We would also go to football games. Our favorite was Taco Tuesday at Locomex, and then in that top picture, we used to always go to the mountains, and that's a very popular spot in Jacksonville. If I was not in class, if I was not in class or at work or like at the caf, I was typically in my room listening to music with friends or having those game nights, or at the radio station where I had to complete weekly hours for my talk show. So, being a mass comm major, I had a concentration in broadcasting. So, we did have to do the radio show at least 2 hours a week. So, 2 people that truly impacted my college career were the first picture is my mentor, Alicia. Because I was a first gen, I struggled with like navigating housing, FAFSA, meal plans, things like that that I wasn't aware of before I was a college student. But my mentor, she really helped me walk through. She really walked me through how to navigate those things, what I always needed to do for next year. So eventually, after my first year, I started doing the FAFSA on my own. There was a lot of things that I was able to do because she was there to walk me through them. The second picture is my old supervisor who really impacted how I grew as a professional. I do talk about her a lot in some of our or I did talk about her a lot in some of our old classes just because we had that relationship to where she was really hard on me. But as a grad student now working with students, I know why she was so hard on me. And it was surely because she cared. And that's how I feel about most of the students, well, really all of the students that I have now. She taught me what it truly meant to work hard in every aspect of my life. She provided amazing training for all of her employees, and taught us that it was okay to just be a student. I did work.
Are you
I did work in undergrad. I'm sorry, y'all can watch that video. So yeah, I did work 2 jobs in undergrad. My first job was at the tutoring center, where I got most of these pictures. That's also where I grew my passion for wanting to help students academically. I worked 20 hours a week, and typically I would go in the mornings before class and then head to my second job after class, which was Ollie's, and I worked there around 25 to 30 hours a week. I chose to work in undergrad, and it was extremely hard. It was very time consuming, but I loved what I did, especially at the tutoring center. But that also did mean that I was going to miss out on a lot of the school events because they typically happen at like 7 or during the week for students. So I missed a lot of those. However, working in undergrad taught me a lot about time management. It was truly like how I grew my passion, and I still talk to most of them today because we were truly a family. So for one of the biggest hardships that we dealt with as a university was in 2018. We experienced a tornado. This impacted every student since we could not return to campus to complete the semester for a while. Basically, as a university, we had to learn how to navigate this. It was something that hadn't happened before, and it damaged a lot of our dorm rooms or dorm buildings and our academic buildings. So they implemented like a pass or fail, and it was halfway through the semester when it happened. So a lot of students decided to take their pass of the class and then just stay at home. And then when we came back that following semester, they had trailers for us to stay in for those who didn't have housing. So that it was really a trial and error for that. A lot of students were impacted because of we lost, like a lot of students lost their cars, their merchandise, all of that. So it was something truly to navigate. Would I return to JSU? Of course, I would return to JSU. However, if I could do it over again, I probably would have chose to go to a community college first and then transfer to a 4-year, just based on like the cost of school. And I feel like sometimes with students that can be an easier transition for first years. And I say that because as at a community college, you can really get your core classes out of the way. However, you do kind of miss that college experience. But if I did have to choose, I would definitely go to a community college first and then possibly transfer to JSU, because overall, I love the school. I love what they do. I love what they stand for. And I grew there. That was honestly the best time of my life. It was being at JSU. So I would definitely go back. I do want to discuss one of the theories that I connected with. Now, as a grad student in student affairs, there were a lot of times that as we learned different theories, I could think about my undergrad. One theory that stuck with me was Chickering's 7 vectors on identity development. Out of the 7 vectors, I would like to speak on the movement through autonomy towards interdependence. I discuss a lot in this presentation about how much I grew as a student and all of the things that I dealt with as a student. And I feel like this vector is all about learning how to operate on your own. So really learning without having to ask other people or get other people's validation for your own decisions. So truly learning to accept your own decisions. But yeah, that's one vector that I wanted to discuss while actually doing this presentation. So So, yeah, thank you all for listening, and I can't wait to hear y'all's.